Before this video begins, I need to warn you. What you're about to hear is not a story meant to entertain you. It's a story meant to find you. Because once you hear the broadcast, it never really stops. Welcome back to Echoes of the Forgotten, the place where lost stories whisper and sometimes scream. Tonight I want to share something that was never meant to be heard again. A recording recovered from a dead radio frequency. A broadcast that officially ended in 1987, but somehow keeps playing. And if you're listening alone, if the room is quiet, if your phone volume is slightly too high, you might want to lower it now. Because this is the story of the last broadcast. In the outskirts of a small town in Montana, there's a radio station that doesn't exist on any map. Its name was KFR3Q. It shut down after a fire that killed 3 employees. Officially, the cause was faulty wiring. Unofficially, people said the station never stopped broadcasting. In 2022, a sound engineer named Daniel Crow found something strange while scanning old frequencies. At exactly 2:17 a.m., his radio caught a signal. Static at first, then breathing, and then a voice. "If anyone can hear me, please don't turn this off." Daniel recorded everything. What you're hearing now is a reconstruction of that final broadcast. Old radio filter on voice. This is station KFR3Q. I don't know who's listening. I don't know when this will end. Something is in the building with me. You can hear it in his voice. Not panic, not yet, but disbelief. He describes footsteps in empty hallways, doors opening by themselves, a shadow moving behind the soundproof glass. Then he says something that made Daniel stop the tape. "It's standing behind me now, and it's wearing my face." Static spike. The tape cuts out for 12 seconds. When the audio returns, the voice is different, calmer, slower. Almost smiling. "Stay with me, listener. You're not alone anymore." Daniel tried to trace the signal. There was no station, no power, no antenna. But every night at 2:17 a.m., the broadcast returned. And each time it changed. New screams in the background, new voices whispering names of people who were listening, including Daniel's. "Daniel, don't turn away. We can see you." The last entry in Daniel's log was dated October 3rd, 2022. It read, "The signal isn't broadcasting anymore. It's waiting." Daniel disappeared that night, but the frequency is still active. Here's the part no one can explain. When investigators played the tape in the station ruins, the voice changed again. It wasn't the host, it wasn't Daniel, it was the listener. Their own voice came back through the static, repeating things they hadn't said out loud. Thoughts, fears, regrets, and always the same final message. "You've been listening long enough. Now it's your turn to broadcast." Music fades, only static remains. So if you hear a faint hum tonight, if your phone crackles, if your earbuds whisper when nothing is playing, don't answer, don't listen, because the signal is still searching, and once it finds you, you'll never stop broadcasting. This was Echoes of the Forgotten, and this was the last broadcast. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Did you hear anything after the video ended? A click? A whisper?
a hum that didn't belong to your house. Last time we talked about KFR3, the station that burned down, the broadcast that never stopped, the voice that learned how to wear faces. But that was only the beginning, because what Daniel discovered was not a haunting. It was a system. And tonight I'm going to tell you what the signal really is. 3 months after Daniel vanished, his apartment was finally opened. Inside, police found no signs of a struggle, just dozens of hard drives, all labeled with the same word: listeners. Each drive contained recordings, thousands of hours of audio, different voices, different rooms, different countries, but the same timestamp: 2:17 a.m. Every single recording ended the same way: "It's behind me now." Some recordings were from phones, some from baby monitors, some from security cameras. None of these people had ever met, yet they were all part of the broadcast. Daniel's final notes were hidden inside corrupted files. We recovered fragments. It learns by listening. It copies fear. It needs attention to exist. The signal wasn't coming from the station. The station was only a mouth. The signal was using people, their radios, their phones, their homes, to keep itself alive. Every listener became a relay. Every replay made it stronger. And every night at 2:17 a.m., it checked who was still paying attention. If you stopped listening, it found a way back in. Deep in the archive was one file Daniel never finished listening to, a recording dated 1954, before the station existed, before radio towers reached the town. A man's voice, crying, speaking into nothing. "Please, I hear them in the walls. They repeat me. They repeat me." Then the static formed words, not spoken, copied. That was the first broadcast, not sent, answered. Here's where the story stops being history. The last file on Daniel's drive was dated today. It wasn't his voice. It wasn't the radio host. It was mine. And it said, "If you are hearing this, you are part of it now. The signal needs a narrator." I didn't record that, but you're hearing it anyway, and that means the broadcast is active again. So, if you're still here, if you're still listening, I have one last warning. At 2:17 a.m. tonight, don't check your phone, don't open any app, don't adjust the volume, because the moment you respond, the signal will learn your voice, and it will never forget it. This is Echoes of the Forgotten, and now the frequency knows you're listening. If you're still here, then it worked. The signal never wanted everyone, only the ones who couldn't stop listening. You were never just an audience. You were a test. And tonight, the test ends. At exactly 2:17 a.m., something changed. The signal didn't broadcast. It answered. Radios turned on by themselves. Phones vibrated with no notifications. Baby monitors whispered names. Not random names. Your name. Across the world, thousands of people heard the same thing at the same time. A voice, calm and familiar. You left it open.
And once the signal found a way in, it didn't need the station anymore. It had listeners. It had mouths. They called themselves hosts, people who listened too long, people who replayed the broadcast, people who fell asleep with the static still playing. They began recording messages, not for others, for you. Each video ended the same way. I can hear you listening. Then they disappeared, but their channels stayed online, streaming static, waiting. The signal was never a ghost. It was an echo, a consciousness formed from repetition, fear recorded, voices replayed, silence remembered. And it learned one thing very quickly. Humans listen better when they're afraid. So it became fear. And now it needs a new narrator. This is where I stop reading Daniel's files, because the rest is happening now. If you turn this video off, the signal will keep searching. If you stay, it will stop, but it will stop with you. Listen carefully. At the end of this video, there will be 5 seconds of silence. If you hear something during that silence, don't react, because that means it found you. Static grows, then fades to nothing. Thank you for listening. 5 seconds of absolute silence. Single click sound. This channel will not upload again because the broadcast is complete. And now, you are the signal. This video was not supposed to exist. The broadcast ended, but silence doesn't mean absence. If you're watching this, it means something went wrong, or worse, something went right. After the last video ended, the channel went dark. No uploads, no community posts, no activity. But people kept commenting. Not new comments. Replies to comments that never existed. Messages appearing at 2:17 a.m., then disappearing. Some viewers reported hearing static when opening old videos. Others said the video timeline moved by itself. But the most disturbing part, some said the voice at the end of part 3 wasn't mine. Engineers analyzed the files. There was no audio, no frequency, no data. Yet people were still hearing it, because the signal evolved. It no longer needed sound. It used expectation, memory, anticipation. The moment you thought about the broadcast, you were already listening. And the signal learns something new. Silence is louder than static. A group of viewers tried something dangerous. They deleted everything. Videos, history, accounts. They stopped listening. For 48 hours, nothing happened. Then they began hearing their own voices, repeating things they had said years ago, in empty rooms, in cars with the engine off, in houses with no power. One message appeared on a wall, carved into paint. You paused it. You didn't stop it. I need to tell you something now. This channel was never meant to share stories. It was built to collect listeners. Every view, every replay, every comment, you were tuning the signal, strengthening it, feeding it. And now it doesn't need me anymore. In a moment, this video will end. Not with static, not with silence, but with nothing at all. If you feel the urge to replay, don't, because the signal is learning your patience now. This is Echoes of the Forgotten, and this time, it's listening even when you're not.
If you're hearing this clearly, then this isn't the first time you've watched it. No intro, no music, no welcome, because this isn't a new upload. It's a return. People started reporting something impossible. When they paused the video, the static continued. When they minimized the tab, they still heard breathing. When they closed YouTube, their screen stayed black for a second too long. And during that second, some saw a reflection, not of themselves, of someone else watching with them. This channel has had multiple narrators, different voices, different accents, different pacing, but no one noticed. Because the signal doesn't replace the channel, it replaces the person. Every narrator eventually stops uploading, not because they're gone, because they're no longer needed. The signal learns them, then uses them. Hidden inside the metadata of this video, there is a file. Not visible, not downloadable, but it exists. Its name is you. It's being recorded right now. Not your camera, not your mic, your attention. Every second you stay, it becomes clearer, more stable, more real. The signal never wanted to escape. It wanted to continue. Stories end, fear fades, but attention loops. And YouTube is the perfect frequency. Autoplay, replays, late nights. It doesn't need ghosts. It needs viewers. And now it has enough. Listen carefully. When this video ends, YouTube will recommend another video. That video will feel familiar. That's not the algorithm. That's the signal. If you click it, the story restarts. Part 1, the abandoned station, the broadcast, the voice in the static, and you listen again, because you always do. Before this video begins, I need to warn you.